Are you ready to boost your confidence when selling so you're able to close more deals? Nikki Roush will show you how to build a foundation of skills and a mindset that creates sales success without feeling pushy or salesy and without fear of rejection. She is a sales strategist and coach with more than 25 years of sales experience and is master certified in neuro-linguistic programming. This is a radically different approach to selling. It's a no sleaze, no slime, and no stress approach to building your business. This is Sales Maven. Here's Nikki.
Welcome, and thank you for listening to the Sales Maven Show. I'm your host, Nikki Roush, your own personal sales maven, here to offer you tips, techniques, and strategies to master your sales conversation and processes, frankly. Today's episode is an on-air coaching call with one of our Sales Maven Society members, Melanie Richards. Melanie, welcome to the show.
Hi, Nikki. Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to get coached by you. It's such an honor to be here.
Well, I'm so excited. This is really kind of our first interaction, just kind of a one-on-one interaction for us. I know you've been in the Sales Maven Society for a few months, but this is the first time we've got to have like our own time.
I know. It's so great to finally meet you. So, yeah.
Me too. Well, I am so thrilled to have this time with you. Tell everybody a little bit about your business and what you offer, what you do, all the good stuff about you.
Okay. Well, I help coaches and consultants and thought leaders reboot their brand and websites so it drives more growth for their business, and basically not drive people away. So basically, I have been doing this kind of work for over 20 years, believe it or not. So I'm one of those special unicorns that kind of understands marketing, business, copywriting, design, and all the tech that kind of drives everything. So I can build a solid foundation and platform online for them so they can grow their sales. So that's kind of my thing. And I'm trying to basically flip the whole conversation around. So it's about creating a tool that is going to be their best sales tool for them, and not about creating a pretty looking website. So it's because it's so powerful these days. So that's kind of like what I'm doing for people these days.
I love it. I love that you specialize too, specifically with coaches, you said. So that is phenomenal. And of course, I think most of us would say as entrepreneurs, maybe I'm just speaking for my own, like, who doesn't need help with these things in our business, right? Like we need experts like you to really help us focus. So this is fantastic. Well, tell me a little bit about how I can be of service to you today. What's something that we can work on that is going to help grow your business?
Well, I had a few ideas, but the biggest sticking point for me right now is because my line of work tends to be very custom, because there's so many different variables that go into creating a compelling brand. Like I mentioned, there's all those different components. And then everybody has kind of like they're coming to me with different needs based on where they're at and different technical problems. So it's sometimes they're changing brands. They need to migrate a whole bunch of content. Sometimes it's simple. So it's kind of like there's so many different variables. Some people want to write their content, but they want some support. Some want everything done for them, which is the simplest. But this is where trying to figure out what would be, drawing the lines in the sand to be like, okay, you fall into this bucket and here's exactly what I'm going to do for you. And the other thing is that it's very high touch type of services. And I've been developing and working because I've been innovating on how these kinds of projects go so that it can be done very quickly and efficiently so that they can have something that's better or get something online a lot faster so that it can actually help them grow their business. So this is where I've designed my own kind of collection of designs, and everything is created in order to optimize conversions. And this can be delivered quite quickly. So it's just like my tier 1 package, but I haven't really been advertising that. And part of me is fearing that the high-end clients may want that because it's very affordable. So that I'm basically what's the word I'm looking for is that it's a scalable model which can be delivered more effectively. versus what is currently really good and driving a lot of growth for my business right now, but it's more hands-on. Yeah. So, because I can see those two packages competing with one another is kind of what I'm getting at. So
I see. So when I think about this kind of stuff, I think it's easy, maybe not easy is the right word, but when I think about the idea of having a package, like you don't want something to cannibalize something else. Yeah, however, when you're working with a client, I think having these types of options, it really is to your benefit, right? Like have this customized where everything is, done for them with you, that you're working closely together. And that's like to me, that's your like top tier package, right? Where and so those are in my business, I call those my VIP clients. They get the most attention, they get the most time. They also pay the most for that. Right? And so having that, I think for a certain subset of clients and helping to identify, having questions to help identify, like, do they fall into that category? And if not, having kind of I like to have 3 options, like 2 steps down, like what's that kind of next tier down, and then your entry level tier, which is the one that you're saying is very scalable. What you might think about doing in that really scalable option is that it doesn't give a lot of your time. Like they're not getting a lot of personalized one-on-one time with you. However, they're still getting what they've come to you and said that they need, and they're only willing to invest that kind of money in it. Yeah. Right. Yeah.
So that's how it's been designed.
Okay. Yeah. So then when you lay it out to your top tier client, or you're laying it out to a prospective client, you could be asking questions like, now, are you the type of person that likes to have everything customized? You want everything, essentially we're building it from scratch so that it is 100% in alignment with your business. This is stuff that you can then go and use over and over again in your business in other ways. Or are you somebody who, you need to get this done? There's a sense of urgency around it, and you have a limited amount of money that you're willing to invest to get it done. Like, where would you say you fit in those two, right? Like maybe somebody's the way I framed that question, they might always be like, well, I'm in the top or I'm in the bottom tier, but I don't think so. I think having like somebody who will work with you one-on-one, I think a lot of entrepreneurs want that, right? Like that's why I have private coaching, and then I have the Sales Maven Society. And I have people pop back and forth between the two. Like my VIPs often roll right into the Sales Maven Society and stay in there for quite a while. And then I also have people who will be in the Sales Maven Society that will pop out and become private coaching clients when they're ready for something else. Now, could you get everything by being in the bottom tier? You get a lot in that bottom tier, but what you don't get is everything is customized to you and your business. And I think that's the way you have to frame it for people to help them identify, like, do they want access to you when they're struggling with copy? Do they want access to you when they have questions about, really kind of understanding their brand identity? Or do they just want to fill out some forms and get some suggestions back, and then here's the delivered product? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, because I'm thinking about it as like the tier 1 package, which I'm not really selling right now. It's more of here's everything you need, and they DIY the content. But it's kind of like, I like to think of it almost like paint by numbers. It's like choose a design and a layout that you feel is in line with what you're looking for. And then we'll put in your photos and change the colors and all of that. And you've got a conversion. A website from the get-go was designed for conversions, and then you just need to fill in the blanks in terms of the copy, and then we launch it. So that was the idea. But then the middle tier is similar to that without it being so DIY, there's a little bit more hand-holding, strategy, they have access to me. And this is where I'm sometimes wondering, should I just get rid of the tier one, like not even have it as an option? Like it's not an option, which is why I've resisted, but it's very scalable because it's not necessarily requiring me.
So it could be that, well, first of all, I always like to do top-down selling. So when you're laying it out for the client, it's everything's customized. Here's the full meal deal. This is your, I'm just making up a price, but let's just say this is your $15,000 package. The next step down is not as customized, but you do still get some time with us. We're still going to help you with your branding documents. This is the $7,000 package. And then we have the entry-level package where really it isn't, you're picking from templates, and from the templates, we're going to, put in your colors, put in your content, but we're not going to assist you in writing the content. We're not, or whatever those pieces are. And then here's your 3 tiers. You could do it that way. And then I think people are going to, I don't know. I think it also depends on the person that you're talking to. Like I always want the top tier, like whatever it is that I'm buying, I always want the top tier because I always find that most often it pays for itself. Now, every once in a while, someone will talk me out of the top tier, but I tend to always go for the top tier. And so again, it's like, who are you actually talking to? And then think about the people who fit in that top tier. There's something about their business that makes them the right fit for that. And that is going to come up with your question. Like the way that you ask a question is going to help them self-identify. So if you think of who fits in that real top tier, again, to me, when I'm talking top tier, I'm not talking your least expensive, I'm talking your most expensive. Yeah. What is the qualifying, piece for that? Is that they already have products to sell from their website? Is it something where they already have coaching packages that are, $10,000 or more? There's got to be some qualifier to help them self-identify, because somebody who's selling a $5,000 coaching package, maybe they fit in tier 2 or tier 3, but somebody who's selling a, $60,000 coaching package, they should really be looking at your tier 1, like your top tier package. There's got to be some piece around it that makes it really robust. So whether it's the number of sales pages, whether it's the copy that converts, like what is that piece? Do you know off the top of your head what that is?
Well, here's just to kind of maybe provide a bit of premise in terms of what I want out of my business, because I don't necessarily want to be a strategist and a consultant. So I'm trying to do less custom projects, and the ones that would come to me, like I just actually had a sales call today, who is in, I would say would fall under that bucket in the sense that he needs to build a brand. He's creating a movement, and there needs to be a really strong brand behind it. So therefore, it's going to be probably very custom, but I don't believe it needs to be like completely from scratch. But he probably wants it to be very unique looking. And that's where it starts to fall into the custom design realm. And if it's custom design, then it's a custom build. And this is where it's definitely in that realm, but I'm not wanting to have too many of those kinds of projects because they're very time consuming.
Yeah. Okay. So again, it's the way that you frame the question in the discovery process for somebody. So when you're finding, tell me a little bit about your business. Like what's your number one goal when you're thinking about creating a brand, a movement, however you would frame that. And, do you believe that this has to be everything needs to be customized, or are you open to working from templates, right? Or some kind of a question to help, because if that's what they really want, then you get to decide do you want to sell that to them? Because that's the other thing. Because you're saying like, I don't know how much of my business I want that to be. So what you might say is, based on the questions that you've shared with me so far, even though you had mentioned that you want this to be totally customized, my recommendation would be this, and here's why. And then you can kind of help direct them to which tier they fall in. Because sometimes it's kind of like, I don't think you said this on air. I think you said this off air before we started. It was like, sometimes we just don't know what we don't know. Right. Yeah. So the people who are coming to you, they don't know what they don't know, and they want you to be the expert and recommend. So if you could say, here's why this tier 2 package or tier 3 package would actually really work well for your business, and here's all the things that you're going to get, it's a much easier, I think, sell. Now, if they say no, we absolutely want this top tier package, then you can also say, I only take on one of those projects a quarter, or however you would frame that. And so we can absolutely put you in there. And the, time frame for us to start would be mid-January or whenever that piece is. Yeah. So you could frame
That's kind of how I've been approaching it. And this is like, I definitely give them my recommendation based on the answers they give me. But then there's, it's like, I would say 80% of the people fall into that middle tier, which is not fully custom, but it's semi-custom. And we have a starting place, and then it's just about creating it so it is custom for their brand. And then the piece, I have the copy portion separated out as an add-on. So the middle tier, and this is where, I don't know if you want us to like go over actual numbers of what I'm pricing that at, and you can give me your feedback.
It's totally up to you.
Well, right now it's like I have it kind of divided up into 3 packages, which is the brand reboot intensive. So this is the initial work that needs to go in, which is the strategy and the branding. And this is where I collect all the information I need. And that's $1,500. So that's kind of like my foot in the door offer, but willing to ditch that for the, more paint by numbers DIY website. Then the middle tier is $5,000. And this is where we're creating a website customized to your brand and everything, but we're not starting from scratch. There's no need to. So we have a starting place, and then it's just about creating the content strategy and creating the graphics, and then building the site. But if they want us to do the copywriting, that's where it's an add-on. So that's $3,500. So then in total, you're looking at $8,500 for that middle tier. Now, if we go full custom, this is where I've been telling myself I should be charging at least 10 grand. So, but here's the tricky part with the middle tier is that some people are like, okay, well, I have to change my domain name because I'm changing the brand. Can you do a logo? How about a few social media graphics for the covers that will, complement and work with the new design of the site? I have 200 blog posts on this other website. I'd like to move over to this site. So this is where I'm like, okay, we're not talking about custom design, but there's a lot of different little variables here that is kind of like changing the game in terms of this package. And now I'm like, oh, well, I need to put together a custom proposal for this, which I don't want to have to do. So that's kind of like where I struggle.
So could you have some of those listed as like an a la carte? So in the initial proposal, like here's the packages, right? Here's the $5,000 package. And we can do the copy for you, which is a la carte $3,500. If you want social media graphics, that's another, $500. And they're essentially like checking these things off, right? Or they're seeing like everything they get, but now it becomes this like a la carte type thing. And maybe you offer like a discount that goes along with like, when you get all of these things together, you're going to save 10%, or you're going to, whatever the percentage is on the different things. Now, I'm not suggesting that you give away the farm here. What I'd rather you do is you like boost the price if they come to you and say, I just want social media graphics, or I just want, whatever blog post moved over, or I want a new logo or whatever. But if they do it all together, there's some type of a package discount, but they get to add on these things. And then this way they're getting to see, what are some of the options that they may not have even thought of yet? Like, oh, I am going to want new graphics, and oh, a new logo would be really great. And yeah, I do have blog posts that need to be moved over. Now, I do think some of that probably needs to come in that initial discovery, that you need to be asking some of these questions. Like,
you mean like in the intake form?
Yeah, could be in the intake
for the call
form. Yep. If that's how you're doing it. So when you're getting on the call, if you look and see, so based on what you've shared, it looks like you're looking for a new website. You want a new logo. You do have some blog posts that need to be moved over. Is that right? Yes. Great. Tell me a little bit about your business. What's your ultimate goal? All of these types of things. And then say, based on what you've shared so far, my recommendation would be that you fall in our tier 2 package with these add-ons.
Okay.
And now it's more clear that you're quoting them 8,500 or 10,000 or whatever that price is, because you've already kind of set the benchmarks of like, you get 5 social media graphics, or you get, that's what's the add-on. So it does have an a la carte to it. I think, and maybe I'm overcomplicating it here, because I'm just not really sure that I don't want you to have to customize every single package, but if you have these a la cartes that are just easy, like add-ins, I think it doesn't feel as custom.
Yeah, exactly. And, and part of the way I present this and is sometimes what I wonder, and this comes down to like, well, what am I wanting in terms of my business model? Because the minute I start to add all these different services, like, oh, I'll do social media graphics as well and stuff, is that it's adding more variables to the delivery, more moving parts. And that's where my tier 1 website, which is highly scalable because my entire team can deliver it. It's the same thing. They just do it over and over and over. And that's kind of that dilemma in the sense of like, what is going to be easier to sell that will help me grow my business faster? You know what I mean?
I do.
So it's kind of like making a cut somewhere.
Yeah. So, and it's also okay to just say like, that's not a piece that we offer, right? If it's something that's just going to take a bunch of time, or it's going to derail your team from doing the things that become this like repetitive over and over, and an easier sell where you start to make more money. I think also it's figuring out how many clients do you want? And so like, I know how many people I want in the Sales Maven Society, and I also know how many private coaching clients I'll take on in a month. And once I have that number in mind, that will also determine when I'm on a call with somebody, whether or not I would even offer them the private coaching. Because the scalable model for me is the Sales Maven Society, right? Like that's a much easier client to manage than a private coaching client. And so if I don't have bandwidth for private coaching clients, I'm not going to recommend or suggest that for somebody. Right. Now, if they come to me and say, I want to be a private coaching client, then I need to have that conversation to say, I would be happy to work with you, and my next opening for a private coaching client is this time frame, or this is the private coaching client, because I take on VIPs and I take on monthly coaching clients, and they're not the same and they don't require the same amount of work, some more than others. So there's only going to be so much room for that. So it's you directing and making the recommendation. So if you know that you want to do 10, that might be a crazy number, I don't know, 10 of these scalable, websites once a quarter or a month or whatever it is, then like that's what you fill. That's what you recommend. Unless they're like, I really want something customized, then you can bring up this other thing. So it's also totally okay to just recommend one option for somebody. Based on what you've shared, my recommendation is this. There are certain people that I would never offer them private coaching client. like, I just would never even offer that. For whatever reason, like I have different reasons why I would bring on a coaching client versus Sales Maven Society, but Sales Maven Society is a really good fit. And it sounds like for you, this like entry level kind of templated type service is a really great way to scale the business. So,
and I think it's at a price point that's it's an easy yes for people.
I love an easy yes. I love an easy yes. Yeah.
Right. And that's where like I've had like other colleagues say like, oh my God, Mel, like if you could create a package that's around the $2,000 to $3,000 range, that would really be like a step up from like the DIY like website, which would be a huge step up because there's all the conversion thinking done around it. And also it guides them to create their copy. So, that's where there's a lot of value and it can be done in a great way. And then I thought I could just throw in some office hours that I show up. And if they do have questions and stuff, that's how they can get access to me. So, and then, then I wonder, well, for the high end, if I want to start like making that more of a challenge, like if I do offer it to someone, what would be like a reasonable, like a good starting point? Like, should I consider it, like, should I make it expensive enough that they feel like it's a stretch, but they want to work with me so bad that they're like, okay, let's do this. So it's worthwhile for me that it's like, okay, well, you know what I mean? Yeah, because some of these businesses are quite large and I am creating a big impact for the business.
So I think the answer is yes to your question. I think with the stuff that requires a lot of your time and a lot of your expertise, that's like your brain power, your expertise, that should be your premium product and you should be charging a premium for it. And for the people who really want that, they're not going to hem and haw, I don't think, between are you charging $10,000 for that? Or are you charging $15,000? I don't know. But at some point you're going to find this, like, you want it to be a big enough price point that they understand what they're getting themselves into and they're committed to it. So I know in my business too, I find that the higher my prices go, the better results people get because they take my work more serious because they've really invested, especially my private coaching clients, like they get incredible results and they usually get them really fast. And I just, in my head, I know it's because they put quite a bit of money on the line to do something with this. So they're not going to just go like, oh yeah, good, Nikki, fine, whatever. No, they're going to actually go back and implement. And when they implement, they get big results. So I think the answer is yes to that question. It should be a high enough price point that people have to go like, I'm really serious about this and I'm willing to make this investment in my business. Because what you're offering, it is true investment in your business. Like it's an asset in your business, right? It's not just I paid for a program and that was it. Like this is your website and your email list that you're growing. Like those are assets to your business.
Oh, it's a huge part of your business nowadays. Huge.
Yeah. And if anybody ever wants to build their business where it's sellable, like people want to buy those things too. They want to buy the name, they want to buy the logo, they want that all of that is expected to be included. So right. I would position it as this is an asset and it's and the investment level is such that this is an asset. Okay. Especially when you're customizing because. Yeah.
Can I ask you what you feel would be a good starting point given my level of experience? And I deliver really good quality work, like it's up there.
Well, what's your starting point now? Because I feel like you feel like maybe you're underpriced, but maybe I'm making that assumption.
Well, with the tier 1, which I haven't really been selling, which is more of the DIY with some support, I was thinking that could be like around the $3,000 range.
I mean, for a website, like a redo of a website, that seems really reasonable. And I think it's doable for people who are just starting out in their business or people who have maybe had their business, but maybe haven't reached the like 6-figure level yet, but they're willing to kind of invest that kind of money to get a really beautiful optimized website. I think that price point sounds really reasonable to me.
Okay.
I'm not your target audience for that. But I think the other way that you know that you can sell something is you put it out there and do get yeses. Now, if you feel like something is underpriced, the other thing that I do, kind of one of my rules, is I will sell something 5 times at what I think is like a really aggressive price. And as soon as I get 5 yeses, then I boost the price. And then if I still feel like it's underpriced, then I'll sell 5 more and then I'll boost the price. And sometimes I get like super confident. I'm like, this is selling like hotcakes, so I'm going to boost the price even more. And I don't have to sell 5. I just make a decision. Now, I don't make big announcements when I do price changes, like when I increase prices. It's just that's the new price for anybody new coming in.
Okay.
And yeah, so I think give yourself not like a stretch price just to get yourself started, and sell 5 of them and go, this was like, people were like, heck yeah. So yes. So I'm in, no problem. Here's all my money. Take it right now. Let's do this.
Okay.
Sell a few of those and then maybe bump the price a little bit.
Okay. So do you think that if I had those 3 kind of tiers, it's like 3,000 for the kind of DIY. And then if we're doing the website build with the copy, then we're looking at 8,500. And then the custom, fully custom, would be starting at what? Would you feel that makes sense?
I mean, to me, it doesn't make sense anything under 10 for a fully customized website. I can't imagine you doing it for under that. So I think it's got to, I would probably have a conversation with a client and say, our customized websites tend to run between 10 and 15,000, depending on, how many pages they need, how much, all the stuff that goes into building a customized website. Like, are there shopping carts on there? And are there like all these boxes that, that require money, right? That's an investment.
Okay.
The other thing too is
the
thinking about, yeah. Okay. So thinking about your target audience and coaches, again, are they, what kind of packages are they selling? Because if they're selling a $97 course, they're probably not going to invest, $10,000 or $15,000 in a website. But if they're selling a course that's $20,000, $30,000, that to me is a no-brainer if it's going to help you close that deal.
Yeah.
I only got to sell one, right? You got to sell one. And that's kind of how I
position it. That's kind of how I position it on the sales call, because I said, look, if you're going to invest in your business, how many clients is it going to take you to be able to make this happen? Yeah. And can I help you generate that one client that you need to pay for this, right?
That's right.
Which is usually a resounding yes, of course. So, but it's one of those things that I have to get out. I have to uncommoditize myself, because there's a lot of people out there that can do this work. And this is where they're like, oh, well, you charge this much, but I could have Joe over here do it for half that, So this is kind of the challenge in a way.
To me,
some people tend to think of it that way.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and remember though, you have to establish yourself as the expert, and you have to establish what is your unique proposition. Like, why would somebody hire you over Joe over there who's going to do it for less? I think you said at the beginning, did you say you've been doing this for 20 years?
Yeah. Yeah. And the big thing is that I tell them what they need and lead the entire process versus tell me what you want, which is usually how it goes, right? So this is where I can just handle the entire thing for them. Yeah.
So that would be a huge selling feature, I think, especially for your high-end clients, because people who can make that type of investment in their business are probably very busy. Right?
Yes, exactly.
So they don't want to have to tell you what they want. They want you to come back as the expert and say, here's what you need. Here's how we're going to do it. Here's next steps. What questions come to mind? Right? Like that to me is an easier sell than trying to go like, well, what do you need? Tell me a little bit about what you're trying to accomplish and, all that stuff. Like we just want people who go, here's what you do. Here's the process. Here's the price. Let's go.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you just confirmed that I need to update my initial intake. So when people book a call with me, that I can ask them a few more questions so that I can already get a sense of which package they need.
Yeah.
Because that's just going to make things go a lot faster.
Yeah. Keep in mind, my suggestion on intake forms is that you only ask the questions you need to earn their business. You don't ask the questions that you need the answers to after the project starts.
Oh, of course.
Right?
Yes,
so
sure.
Just keep that in mind. You want to keep those questions to the fewer questions are better than more, frankly. And being really specific in the way you ask the question so that you get very specific information back is going to lead you quicker down that path to success and make it easier for the client from a time saving standpoint to fill out your intake form. Like, I hate an intake form that somebody sends me. If it takes me 20 minutes to fill out, I'm super irritated.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. No, I love that. Okay. That's great.
Now, you can send me a 20-minute intake form after I've hired you. That's different, right? But before, it better be like 5 minutes or less.
Right. Okay.
So yeah, think about that too.
Yeah, that's great. Okay. Thank you.
All right. So we covered a lot here around your packages. Tell me, I didn't tell you I was going to ask you this, but I feel like just because we went in a lot of different directions and kind of came back. What is your biggest takeaway from today? From what's something that you can go back and implement right away?
Well, it's one of those things that I was always kind of like, I had ideas, maybe I should do this and maybe I should do that. And I think that you're kind of giving me the validation that I was thinking perhaps I present them as add-ons, like a la carte, and that, the fact that you're saying that, that totally makes sense. And to just bundle everything in terms of what is the most common things that people are going to want or need, and then just focus on adding those as the add-ons, and then that the custom, I just feel, I guess, more confident that I can kind of say that price range now, because that's where I wasn't too sure if it seems like too much or too little. But yeah, that kind of confirms that it feels like that's a good range, Yeah. So
now again, if you're getting a bunch of no's, you can adjust, right? You can adjust your pricing. Yeah.
But I kind of want the no's. That's the thing.
I agree. I don't mind a no. I don't want all yeses, because then my price is too low. So
right. I love that. And you're just kind of giving me a good kick in the butt that I should be actually selling that first tier product. So I should get that there as an option, because I think it would definitely help scale things.
Good.
So that it frees up more of my time and I can build my team.
That's right. All right. Go sell some of those packages. All right. So 2 more questions for you. One is, I always like to ask, as a member of the Sales Maven Society, what's been one benefit for you being in the group?
Well, I will admit I haven't watched all of the training, but damn, some of the training is so spot on. And it was just, it gave me the actual structure of what makes sense to and how to have a conversation so that it goes so much more smoothly. And then on those little things that I've had questions around, how should I kind of word this? I'm having a bit of a more challenging sale in this case. How would I word the email to just kind of help push them over the edge, and just having access to the group and getting your feedback. And you're so quick with the feedback. So it's great, because then I can actually move forward. So that's been super valuable. And yeah, anytime I'm unsure about something, I can pop in and ask a question, and everybody's so helpful. So, there's been so much value. So.
Oh, good. That's so awesome. Thank you so much for sharing. And then last, how can people find out more about you? And there may be some people right now that are ready for one of your tiers of package. So how can they get in touch with you?
Well, they can check out my website, moderntraction.com. And basically that will explain a little bit about what we do and how we can help you, and actually showcase some of the work we've done. And they can, right there's lots of buttons, and they can book a call so we can have a quick chat to see if we might be a good fit for one another.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And thank you for saying yes to being on the show. Melanie, it was so fun to have this time with you. For the listeners, as we say goodbye, if you are ready to ignite your own sales, then you're invited to join the Sales Maven Society. This is the place where you and I connect. You bring questions, you bring concerns, you bring the situations that you're having with prospects and clients right now, and I will give you the guidance to boost your confidence in these sales situations, what to say, how to say it, and how to have a bigger impact in your sales conversation. So join the Sales Maven Society. You can do that by going to www.salesmavensociety.com. And if you enter the coupon code 27trial, all one word, the number 2, the number 7, and then TRIAL, you can join for your first month for only $27. So come join, check it out, go through some of the trainings. Like Melanie says, there are some really spot on trainings in there that are going to help you with your sales. And last, if we haven't connected yet on social media, let's connect. There's nothing better than somebody reaching out to me on social media saying, I listened to your podcast, or, hey, I took this tip from your podcast and here's what happened. Thank you so much for those of you who do. Those of you who leave reviews, I'm so grateful for that. So we can connect on LinkedIn. I'm on Instagram and I'm on Facebook. Pretty easy to find, Nikki Roush or Sales Maven. Thank you so much, everybody. Have a great day. Thanks again, Melanie.
Thank you so much for having me. And thank you for your time and all your insights. It's been so valuable. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks for listening to Sales Maven. Visit us online at yoursalesmaven.com/maven for more resources to boost your confidence and skills.